What's up everyone, welcome to Pitfalls to Avoid Product Research Edition. In this video, we're going to go over why some products fail and how to minimize failed products. One of the main reasons I see products failing on Amazon is because people are bundling the wrong products together. If you're putting products together that add no value to the end customer, there's no reason why someone would buy your product over a competitor's product. For example, if I'm in the market for headphones and someone has bundled headphones and drapes, that makes no sense and it adds no value to the end customer. But if someone is selling headphones with a headphone case, that adds value to the end customer. An example I always see in store is PlayStation and Xbox being sold with a video game inside. Another reason why I see products fail is because people are launching copycat products. Let's say I'm in the market for a garlic press and I see two listings. They both are the same product, very similar pictures, very similar listing, same price. The only difference is that one has 800 reviews and the other one has 12 reviews, and they're both at 4.7 star. Why would I choose the one with less reviews over the one with higher reviews? You need to put yourself in the shoes of the buyer. Now, the one with higher reviews, it's like your friend telling you this product is better, buy this one. It's social proof. So if you can't compete with other products on Amazon in a certain aspect, why would a buyer choose your product over the other products? Another thing I see is people not understanding the target market. Let's say I'm selling an eco-friendly product, but I'm shipping that product out wrapped in plastic. When the end user gets that product, they're not going to be happy with that product. They're buying that product to be eco-friendly. They're going to end up leaving you a negative review. So you need to make sure you understand the target market. Another big mistake I see people making is not making data-driven decisions. You know, when you're talking near your phone or your computer, and then you start getting targeted for the topic that you were talking about by Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and so on, that's because they're listening on your device and know what you're looking for, and they can target you based on the data that you've given them. And it's the exact same thing with Amazon. We have access to data and we can make data-driven decisions. So when we're going to launch a product and we're trying to choose a color, we're not going to choose a color based on our own personal preference. We're going to look at the data and see what people want and launch that product in the color that people want. Another reason why a product could fail is because it's patented or trademarked. Now, no one should be launching a product that's patented or trademarked. We're going to show you a quick way of doing a patent and trademark search, but before you place your deposit with your supplier, you want to make sure you have a professional do a patent and trademark search so you don't end up investing all that money and not being able to sell your product. If your product is patented or has a trademark, Amazon will not allow you to sell the product on their platform. Now, an example of a patented product is this training mask. You might not know this product is patented just by looking at it, but it is patented. So that's why it's very important to always make sure you do a patent and trademark search before you pay your supplier. Another reason is high competition. You don't want to be going into a category where all your competitors have a lot of reviews. Like I said earlier, you need to be able to differentiate your product and add value to the end customer so someone buys your product. If you loosen up your criteria and go after high competition products, it'll be easier to find more product, but it's going to be an uphill battle. If your criteria for finding products is tighter, it's going to be harder to find products, but it's going to be easier in the long run with that product. So stick to products with an average review of less than 500 reviews. This one is simple: restricted products. Don't launch things like alcohol, drugs, and drug paraphernalia. This is mostly common sense, but common sense is not so common. So make sure you check Amazon's restricted product list. Another one is quality control. Bad quality products end up with bad reviews. You want to make sure you order samples from your supplier and also from your top competitors on Amazon. You want your samples to be at least on par with your top competitors' products. And you want to make sure you get a final sample from the factory that's going to be very similar to what they're going to produce. And that's because you want to be able to make an inspection requirement document to be able to send to the inspection company. So when they do their post-production inspection, they know what to look for. And you want to fix any issues before the order leaves the factory. Bad products don't last long. By the time you get the product manufactured and launched, it could have died out and the demand could have stopped. So you want to make sure you don't launch bad products. Another one is fragile and poorly packaged products. It's a bad combo. I'm sure a lot of you have bought products, taken it home, only to realize that the product is damaged. If your product is damaged, you're going to get negative reviews. So if your product is fragile, just make sure you package it properly. Another big one is miscalculating the launch budget. I see a lot of people find a great product, build out a great listing, but once it comes to launching, they don't want to spend the money to get to page 1 and gain enough reviews so people trust the product. Think about it. When was the last time you went to page 2 to buy a product? So you want to make sure you have enough money to launch your product properly and get get enough reviews so people trust your product. There's no reason why anyone should have poor photos, a poor listing, or poor A+ content. When your customer sees your product, they have to choose your product over the competitor's product. They're not going to be able to touch your product. They're going to make a decision based off the photos, the price, the reviews, and the listing. So you want to make sure you give your customer every reason to choose your product over the competitor's product. You don't want to be overestimating your selling price. On Amazon, prices are competitive. You want to be thinking like a buyer. Is my product significantly better than other products? Is it adding value to the end consumer? Why would someone pay more for my product as opposed to my competitors? The last thing you want to do is overestimate your selling price, and then once you launch, having to drop your price by 20 and 30% and having no profit left. I've heard horror stories about dimensional weight. People get their product shipped to Amazon, and only then do they realize that their FBA fees are getting charged based off the dimensional weight and not the actual weight of the product. When you're doing your FBA calculations, you want to check both the dimensional weight and the actual weight of the product. Amazon charges you based off whichever one is greater. If your product is large but weighs very little, you're probably going to get charged based off dimensional weight. Trying to fix a poor listing with PPC or launch service is not a marketing method that will fix a bad listing. If you have a bad listing, you can use PPC data to get feedback and make the necessary adjustments. But if you have a bad product, you can spend $1 million marketing that product and it's still going to be a bad product.